Travel and Things in association with Sun Destinations, iconic destinations with amazing experiences, present In Conversation With. I am your host, David Batsoffen, and today I'm talking to the head guide at Africa on Foot, which is one of the camps in the Sun Destination portfolio, and that is Calvin de la Rey. Calvin, hi, how are you doing?
I'm very well, thanks. And yourself, David? Thanks for having me on here.
Just a tad chilly, and it seems that you are too.
Yeah, we've had a very rainy morning this morning, which is quite unexpected in the Lofoten winter.
True.
But, yeah, we're not used to the cold, so we're quite laid up at the moment.
For people who don't know anything about Africa on Foot, before we go to some images that I've got to share with the viewers, tell us where Africa on Foot actually is. Where is the camp situated?
So we're situated in the Greater Kruger National Park in a private game reserve known as the Kleseri Private Nature Reserve. And it's just situated outside Hoedspruit on the border of the Greater Kruger National Park.
All right, so that puts you into context so people know where you are. Pardon me. Talk us through. I've got a couple of about a half a dozen images from the time that I was at Africa on Foot. So talk us through. This is the accommodation, or one of the little thatched accommodation chalets, which looks very tiny from the outside, but in fact is huge once you open that front door.
Yeah, so that is one of our rooms. Each room is quite unique and has its own name. That room's name is Gwari. And yeah, it's a bungalow with a double bed inside of it, and it has an outdoor shower, that particular room as well. Not all of them have, but that one has an outdoor shower.
And you were talking about the indoor double bed. It's very difficult getting out of nice linen and out from underneath a mosquito net when it's a little bit chilly on a cold winter's morning, but needs must. You can't stay in, it's not like a hotel. You want to get up, get out, and go and see what the bush will provide for the day.
Yeah, no, that's correct. And on the cold days, it's some of the best days to get out there, finding the birds of prey in the tree and maybe some predators still active.
Yeah, this is the thing. I don't know how you feel about summer v winter, but I think some of the best wildlife viewing is, in fact, in winter. The days are chilly, there's less grass around, there's reduced drinking, so they have to go to a few water spots, and the air is so crystal clear that it makes for beautifully lit photographs.
Yeah, that's correct. Winter is generally the best time for game viewing. The bush is not as lush, so you can see into the bush, and a lot of the animals congregate around the water sources.
And at the end of the day, you don't want to be in Hoedspruit in 45-degree heat.
Yeah, correct. Summer can be a bit unbearable, especially if you're not used to it, used to the heat.
Well, the beauty about going on a game drive in an open Land Rover or a Toyota before I get shouted at by the Land Rover v Toyota people, in any one of those game drive vehicles, let me be safe on that, is that it's got permanent air conditioning. There's always a breeze blowing through that thing, hot or cold.
Yeah, correct. And luckily it's also a dry heat, so you can always go hide in the shade a little bit.
You can indeed. This is one of the seating areas, because behind that sort of tree sculpture in the middle is where the dining area is, and just out of the shot is a bar area, if I remember correctly.
Yes, correct. That's the central area inside our lodge over there. I like to relax and board game around there as well, and a library that you can't see on the photo, the general area of the lodge.
Okay, but now Africa on Foot is exactly that. And here are some feet in Africa. But so talk us through, because people are able to go out on walks, um, and to get a little bit closer to nature than maybe they thought they might. Specifically, getting out of a game drive vehicle and out into the bush on a walk.
Yeah, so we specialize in walking. All of our guides here are qualified trails guides or either working towards it. So it's a big passion of all of ours as well. And we normally, what we do is in the morning, we take people out on a walking safari and focus on the smaller details, but also the big animals. And generally, we are out for a 2 to 3 hour walk in the morning. And it's not to see how far we can walk, but how much we can see or how much we can interpret on those walks.
Because I have people
And yeah, it's a good
yeah.
experience for people to come and experience, to ground your and to enhance all your game drive, only just looking at things.
Definitely. But
Come again, David?
No, I was going to say, when people hear you going 2 and 3 hour walks, they think you're going to walk for kilometers and kilometers. I've been on trails walks for 3 hours, and you've covered maybe 1.5 kilometers, but you stop every 15 centimeters to look at something. So it's not distance, and the time just vanishes before you know it.
Yeah, correct. I always like to describe it to people. Going on a game drive is like watching a movie. Going on a walk is like reading a book. It goes a lot more in detail of what the wilderness has to offer for us.
True enough, because you're able to do this type of stuff, which you can't really do if you're in a vehicle. But here you can get out, or you're walking along, you can pick up some poop, you can have a look at it, interpret, or the trails guide can interpret for guests what it is. And people go, ugh, but it's dung. I go, yeah, but it's vegetation. That's all there is. You know, it's not going to make your hands smell at all. Did you get that, Calvin?
No. Luckily, that's herbivore. Looks like elephant.
Yep.
No, I didn't get all of that, David.
No,
sorry,
just saying,
connection...
you can pick up this poo, and your hands aren't going to smell. It's not like your house cat or dog at home that eats is an omnivore. These are herbivores, so it's only grass and vegetation.
Yeah, correct. And luckily, the guides here are dungologists as well, so they'll make sure you don't pick up the wrong poop.
Exactly. Like any predator poo you pick up with a multi-tool, you don't pick it up by hand. People learn the hard way. And talking about learning the hard way, depends what you're looking for. This guest was after shongololos. Every 2 seconds, every time he found one, he fell to his knees and took photographs of the things. And I couldn't help but take pictures of his butt sticking up in the air. But I did
I love the
ask
enthusiasm. It's always nice.
I did ask his permission if I could use the image, and he did give that. So I'm not using it without his permission. But if any of his friends recognize him from that particular angle, then they must be really good friends. You talk about walks, Calvin. Does this mean that you're walking in Big Five territory, or have you only got certain of the game species available for guests to walk?
We are in a Big Five area,
right.
And we quite regularly come across the Big Five on our walks. It is a big point of our walks, is we try to give guests experiences, and a lot of the animals we come across is elephant a lot on the walks, and we have rhino as well in the area that we come across, and then we also have a nice big pride of lions that consist of about 14 of them that have recently have some new cubs, but I haven't seen the cubs yet. and we regularly come across them as well because the main part of their territory is actually on our property.
And that's always nice. We'll get to an image of that particular pride in a moment or two, because when we were there, we'd gone out on an afternoon drive, and we were having sundowners at that tree, not quite a tree house, but that platform in a tree. I'm sure you know which one I'm referring to. Watching the sunset,
Yes.
and then all of a sudden the radio burst into life going, lions. And the guy that was with us said, listen, we can stay here and drink and eat snacks, or we can go and see if we can find lions. Well, we packed up in about 15 seconds, got off that platform and went out, and we were lucky enough to find these guys.
Yeah, lovely. So that is we always get excited when these guys are around. So, and yeah, we love spending time with them and viewing them. And their name, the pride name, is the Vuyelas. And I see years where the cubs were still a bit younger. At the moment, they're a little bit older than that.
Yeah, this was from 2022, a visit that I did then. So don't get stressed. I'm going to close down the pictures, so we'll come back to just you and I on screen. There we go. So tell us a bit more about Africa on Foot, about the camp, what people can expect when they come to the camp, both from an accommodation and a food point of view. Do you offer 3 meals a day, 16 meals a day? Is there food constantly on offer?
Yeah, so we are a small, intimate camp.
Right.
We only have 5 rooms, and we can sleep 14 guests.
Okay.
2 of the rooms are family units, and the other 3 are couples units. So yeah, it's a small, intimate camp, and we specialize in those kind of intimate experiences. What we do on a daily basis is we go on a walk in the morning and a game drive in the afternoon, and we offer guests 3 meals a day. Breakfast, which is normally a 2-course meal, light lunch, and then a 3-course meal at dinner. We also have snacks on our activities and coffee. So most people come here are never hungry. They actually complain that there's too much food,
Yeah.
but that's a good thing.
That's always good. That bodes well for you guys.
Yeah. We also have a tree house here that is just outside the lodge, which guests can book for a special occasion, or if they just want to go and experience a treehouse for one night. And when they book the treehouse, they also keep their normal room as well. If they ever get cold during the night, they're welcome to come back to their normal room, or if the weather is unpredictable. And when we do our meals, we all sit around the same table, or the guests with the guides or the managers, whoever is on hosting. And yeah, we really have that kind of family vibe, yeah, around the camp, and intimate experience. Everyone's always together. It's quite nice. A lot of the guests get along as well and actually establish friendships. So you don't have that separated experiences where everyone's doing thing. We all, as Africa on Foot, we work together as a family, and a lot of the guests feel like they're coming to a home when they come here and visit us.
That's always awesome. Now, you mentioned 2 things that I want to just pick up on. One is the treehouse. And if people have never stayed, they stay in the bush, but they stay in a camp that may or may not have a fence. They're staying in a tent or in like those bungalows that I showed earlier. And then they go into one of those tree houses, and every sound that they hear, they swear is something that's coming to eat them. They don't realize that, impala can't walk upstairs, or leopards are not going to climb up and specifically try and eat them. But every noise is amplified. I mean, I stayed in a treehouse once, and there was a pod of hippos. Now, if you've never heard hippo in the middle of the night roaring and grunting, it's a bit of a daunting experience to wake up to that sort of sound. Even a bush baby will terrify you if you've never heard one scream before.
No, definitely, definitely, I agree with you. A lot of people take some getting used to.
Yeah.
When they first come into the bush, you know, getting used to all the sounds, not hearing sirens or other noises from trucks and stuff from the
Yeah.
city. So it does take time to adjust, but it is a very, very safe platform.
Mm,
So it's a platform that has been raised up
mm.
and next to trees. So it's not directly in a tree, but it's a raised platform.
Okay.
And it's also covered at the bottom with electric fence. So there's
Okay.
no way animals, well, the big animals are getting into the treehouse. So there's a very safe setup.
Mm.
And we always give the guests a radio that I have a separate radio with me.
Just
So
in
if they
case.
ever, yeah, just in case. So if they ever feel uncomfortable or anything like that, I'm just on the other side of the radio, not too far away. And yeah, it's one of those experiences people are afraid when they do it, or they're unsure. But when they hear the hippos calling at night or the lions roaring and they see the sun rise in the morning, they realize it's good to be alive.
I stayed at a particular
It's a good
camp
feeling.
that there were lions very close by, and the roaring of the males woke me at about 2 o'clock. And I swore to myself, and I've been going to the bush since 1966. I swore that those things were right under our bungalow. And in fact, I had visions of one of them climbing the stairs. And I lay in the darkness, not wanting to wake my wife, but just going, all right, so what do I do if these things do knock on the door? Needless to say, they were more than a kilometer away from where our accommodation was. But that's how the sound carries in the dark.
Yeah, yeah, it's amazing how the sound travels.
Yeah. And the other
Um,
thing you mentioned, Calvin, was families. What is the youngest? What is the youngest child that you can take on a walk?
on a walk, it is 16. Our recommended walking age is 16.
Okay.
Legally, it's 12, but our recommendation is 16.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so we don't like to take kids that are younger than 16 on walks. And normally, if we have kids that are younger, then we give them a separate game drive.
Okay.
And
So
normally, what
so
we do is one of the parents stays with the kids on the
mhm.
game drive, and then another parent can go on the walk, and then they can swap
Okay. All
during
right.
the day, so they both can experience the walks as well.
Now, your walks, do they all start at the camp, or do you sometimes do sort of a half a game drive, stop the vehicle at maybe one of the water holes, do a walk, come back to the vehicle, and then drive back to camp?
Yeah, we mix it up a lot of the times. Most of the times we drive out and then we walk a certain area and we drive back. So you get to experience both the walking and driving. But a lot of the times we will walk from the camp and then get picked up somewhere in the bush and drive
Mm,
back as well. And then also what we like to do is actually to get dropped off far away from the camp and then walk
walk
back
back.
to the camp. So we mix it up according to what is in the area and what sightings have been reported, and also what people's interests are.
Okay. And people at the end of the day, sometimes are very terrified about walking in the bush. But as long as they follow your lead as head guide or the trails guide that is looking after them, then all will be well. It's when they don't listen or do something that they shouldn't. Whistling when they see a lion to try and call it closer to get a photograph with a cell phone. You don't do that sort of thing. They will eat you.
Yeah, no, that's correct. So I mean, all of us guides, we are trained in dealing with most situations that would arise with
Mm,
both animals and people. And but yeah, we do when it comes to walking, we do have some strict protocols that we follow, and we make everyone aware of that before we start the walks,
you're right.
so people know what they can and cannot do. And yeah, conduct them in this manner as possible.
Yeah,
and yeah, you have that wilderness experience while you're out there as well.
yeah. I think if people have never been on a walk, I think they need to put it on a bucket list. Forget game drives, because a walk gives you a whole different experience for a variety of different reasons at the end of the day, good, bad, or indifferent. And also, it's not, pardon me, as you were saying earlier, Calvin, it's not a race. This is not a marathon. This is an adventure. And you can walk. The object of the exercise is not to try and run it, but just to do a gentle walk. So you don't need to be super fit to do these sort of things.
Yeah, that's correct. We're only, our rule is we only walk as fast as close. So we're always assessing it. If we feel like going too far and we can see someone is not calm, we're always walking according to how everyone's needs are. And it's not about this. It's not a route march. It's not to get from point A to point B. That's the beauty of walking, is you take things as they come.
Yeah.
So whatever comes across your path, you take it as it comes, and yeah, you enjoy that moment in time.
Now, how can
Sometimes
people? Sorry, I spoke over you. Finish your sentence.
No, sometimes you can, be at a waterhole for, you can just go sit at a waterhole for an hour and see if anything comes in. Sometimes you might find an elephant and follow him for half an hour and just see what's he getting up to with his daily business.
Yeah.
And
trails
yeah,
guides
it's
will
definitely
tell you
not
the
about
object.
distance at all.
Yeah, the trails guides will tell you, and I've walked with some really great guides. The object of the exercise is to get in and out of the sighting without the animal changing its behavior at all. And I've done that with elephant sightings.
Correct.
I've been walked virtually into an elephant, and he just continued to eat. We sat, we watched, I took photographs, and then we left. That elephant was none the wiser that we'd been there. And that's the way to do it, without disturbing them.
Yes, and that's also another one of the beauties of walking, is getting those experiences where the animals don't know you there. So you're observing their natural behavior and what they do if they didn't know you were there.
Yeah.
Where a lot of times in the game view, you stop close by and they're all just standing and staring at you and wondering, why is everyone staring at me? And so you get a lot of the sightings you get is just animals looking at you, where on the walks, when they don't know you're there, you're observing them feeding or having interactions with each other and socializing, vocalizing, all.
But then I should imagine, Calvin, that being at Africa on Foot in the winter time is better for walking, because then it's not going to be raining. Talking about inclement weather, Calvin seems to have frozen. He'll either come back to us or he'll vanish. I've been chatting to Calvin de la Rey, who's the head guide at Africa on Foot, which is in the Klaseri Private Reserve, which is part of the greater Kruger National Park. And they specialize in walks. Yes, you can go out on game drives, but a walk is a whole different experience. There we go. I thought Calvin would vanish. This is just the nature of Zoom at the moment, with load shedding and with the weather. But anyway, I think we've got all the information that we really needed. So the place that I was alluding to, let's go back and just take you through some of those images again. This was the Lion Pride that he was talking about, that we were very lucky to find one evening on the way back to camp. An African sunset, you can't better those. And up in the Lowveld, the sunsets are particularly glorious. They really and truly are. Elephant, again, trying to get in and out of a sighting without them knowing you are there, like this particular youngster that just fed quietly as we strolled past, very alert and very aware. Both we were The elephant didn't care. He didn't even, I don't think, even knew we were there. Depends on what your passion is for photography or done for the. If you're a scatologist, that is a word, you can look it up. Somebody who researches scat, then this may be of interest for you. And as I was saying, Africa on Foot is exactly this. They want you to get out. They want you to experience Africa as it is, and just have a great adventure. If you'd like to make a booking, it's very simple. All you do is you get hold of Sun Destinations. You can find them. You can find them via their website, sundestinations.co.za, or you can find them on Facebook, and you can make a booking. As I'd asked Calvin just before he vanished, I should imagine that winter is better for walking, because you don't want to walk in the rain and the mud. It's very unpleasant unless you like that sort of thing, or you're looking for a new adventure. And if you are going to Africa on foot, why not book that treehouse just for something different to talk about? This has been In Conversation With. I am David Batsoffen, and my guest for this particular episode was Calvin de la Rey, who is the head guide at Africa on Foot, one of the Sun Destination portfolios of lodges.